Welcome back, coin collectors, treasure hunters, and curious fans of history. Rarest coins. Today we are diving deep into the story of a coin that most people have held in their hands at least once, the 1968 Lincoln penny. Some online videos and social media posts claim that this penny could be worth crazy amounts of money, like $1.8 million. But what is the truth behind those claims? Why are some pennies valuable? What should you look for, and what is the realistic market value for this coin? We are going to explore its fascinating history, how value is determined, and what factors make certain coins rare and collectible. So sit back and let's explore the world of the 1968 Lincoln penny. Section 1: The Lincoln penny story. The Lincoln penny is one of the most iconic coins ever produced by the United States Mint. It was first introduced in 1909 to honor President Abraham Lincoln on the 100th anniversary of his birth. The design by Victor David Brenner was historic because it was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person. Previously, all coins had symbols or allegorical figures, but never a historical figure like Lincoln. The obverse of the coin features his profile, while the reverse from 1959 through 2008 showed the Lincoln Memorial, which many of us recognize from childhood. Seeing Lincoln's face on everyday change created an instant connection with generations of Americans. Because the Lincoln penny has been in continuous production for over a century, it has become one of the most collected series among numismatists. Whether you are new to coin collecting or have been searching through pocket change for years, the Lincoln penny offers a fascinating mix of history and variety. Section 2: What the 1968 penny is. Now let's talk specifically about the 1968 Lincoln penny. The D stands for the Denver Mint, meaning the coin was struck in Denver, Colorado in 1968. The United States was still producing Lincoln pennies in very high numbers because pennies were widely used in everyday commerce. At this point in history, the coins were still made primarily of copper, and Denver produced hundreds of millions of Lincoln pennies that year. Because so many 1968 pennies were created, most of them are common today and easy for collectors to find in a wide range of conditions, from worn circulated pennies pulled from pocket change to crisp uncirculated coins that have never seen everyday use. These pennies are everywhere. However, common does not mean uninteresting. Many coins in this series have small details that attract collectors, especially when condition is excellent or when unusual minting varieties occur. Section 3: Standard value. Let's answer the question most people want to know: what is a 1968 Lincoln penny worth? In most cases, a 1968 penny that has been in circulation and shows signs of wear from everyday use is worth just a little more than its face value of 1 cent. Most of these coins are common and do not command high prices on the collector market. Even uncirculated examples that look crisp and retain original red copper color typically sell for a few dollars to perhaps $10 or $20, depending on condition and collector demand. Collectors use terms like mint state to describe coins that show no wear and still have full detail. If you have a mint state 1968 penny that has excellent color and sharp strike, it may be worth more than a worn example, but even these high-grade specimens are generally modest in value compared to dramatic internet claims. Section 4: Rare varieties and error coins. Now this is where things get really interesting. Rare and unusual coins are what drive serious collector excitement and real value in the world of Lincoln pennies. Some 1968 examples show genuine mint errors or oddities that make them stand out from ordinary coins. For example, pennies with dramatic doubling on letters or numbers are called double die errors, and these can be significantly more valuable than regular coins. Other errors include off-center strikes where part of the design is missing, or shifted planchet errors where the coin is struck on the wrong metal blank. These kinds of mistakes occurred in small numbers and are uncommon relative to normal production. Error coins and rare varieties attract collectors because they tell a unique story about the minting process and because they are not easily found. Error pennies that are in excellent condition with strong eye appeal can sell for hundreds to a few $1,000s at auction, depending on the severity of the error and the condition of the coin. Truly rare errors in high grade have brought strong results at major coin auctions and can be exciting finds for collectors. Section 5: About the $1.8 million claims. Now let's address the big viral question: could a 1968D Lincoln penny really be worth $1.8 million? While that kind of price makes for eye-catching headlines, the reality is that there is no verified auction record of a 1968D penny selling for that amount in the established numismatic marketplace. Real coin values are based on documented sales at reputable auctions, dealer transactions, and recognized price guides rather than speculation or sensationalized social media posts. Coins that do achieve very high prices tend to be extremely rare, historically significant, or tied to documented minting mistakes that occurred in tiny numbers. Realistically, even the most valuable 1968D penny error coins or highest graded mint state examples have historically brought strong but not seven-figure prices. Verified auction results for rare pennies from this era typically fall well below the $1 million mark. So while it is exciting to dream about finding a coin worth millions, the true market for 1968D pennies does not support a $1.8 million valuation based on credible sales history. Section 6: How to evaluate your OWN coin. If you think you might have a valuable 1968D penny, here are some practical steps to help evaluate it. First, never clean your coin because cleaning can damage the original surface and drastically reduce collector value. Use good lighting and a magnifying glass to examine the surface. Look for original red copper color, strong detail around Lincoln's face and the words in the design. High quality color and sharp detail often indicate higher grade and collector appeal. Next, look for unusual features like doubling weird spacing on letters, odd shapes, or incomplete design areas. These are the kinds of things that error collectors prize. In cases of suspected errors or rare varieties, consider consulting a reputable coin dealer or professional grading service. Certified grading companies can authenticate your coin, assign a grade, and give you credible information about its market value. Real collectors base value on condition, rarity, and verified sales history, not on speculation. Conclusion: in summary, the 1968D Lincoln penny is a classic piece of American coinage from a time when pennies were widely used and widely circulated. Most examples are common and worth only a little more than face value. Even in uncirculated condition, rare, error, and variety coins can be collectible and sometimes bring higher prices at auction, but there is no documented evidence that a typical 1968D penny is worth $1.8 million. Real coin values come from what collectors have actually paid at reputable auctions backed by verified records, not sensational headlines. Every coin has a story, and exploring these small pieces of history is part of the fun of collecting. Whether you find an error penny, a perfectly preserved uncirculated example, or a worn coin from pocket change, each one has something to teach us. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this deep dive into Lincoln pennies, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more fascinating coin history and value insights. If you want suggestions for on-screen visuals or B-roll timing to go with this script, just let me know. Hello coin lovers, treasure hunters, and curious viewers. Today we are diving into the fascinating world of one of the most common coins you might find in your pocket, the 1984D Lincoln penny. People often ask if this coin could be worth a huge amount of money like $1.5 million, and today we are going to explore the history of this penny, how its value is determined, what rare varieties exist, and why you should be cautious about viral value claims. Let's get started and uncover the real story behind the 1984D Lincoln penny. Section 1: History of the Lincoln penny. The Lincoln penny has been a staple of United States coinage for more than a century. First introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of President Abraham Lincoln's birth, this coin was the first U.S. circulation coin to feature a real person. On the obverse we see Lincoln's familiar portrait, and on the reverse from 1959 through 2008 we see the Lincoln Memorial. This design was familiar to generations of Americans, and millions of pennies changed hands every day. The Lincoln penny represents more than just 1 cent. It reflects a long tradition of American coinage honoring one of the nation's most admired leaders. Over time the metals and designs changed, but the connection to Lincoln remained strong, and coins from many decades are collected around the world. Section 2: What the 1984D penny is. The D in 1984 D stands for the Denver Mint, meaning this particular penny was struck in Denver, Colorado in 1984. The United States Mint produced billions of Lincoln pennies because pennies were still widely used in everyday transactions. The Denver Mint alone produced an enormous number, making these coins extremely common in circulation today. Because of that massive output, most 1,984 D pennies you find in change or coin trays are ordinary examples that most collectors consider common. Most 1,984 D pennies are made of copper and were produced in everyday circulation quality. This is a coin that most people have held 1,000 times and might not think twice about, but even common coins have stories to tell, and sometimes exceptional examples surprise collectors when they are discovered. Section 3 Normal Market Value. So how much is a typical 1,984 D Lincoln penny worth? The truth for most coins is simple. The vast majority of circulated 1,984 D pennies are worth only their face value of 1 cent or just a few cents above that. Most uncirculated 1,984 D pennies that show nice detail and original red copper color might sell for a few dollars to perhaps $10 or $20 if they are especially attractive or have strong eye appeal. Most collector price guides list only modest values for these coins because so many exist and so many are still available in high grades. In everyday collecting, the principle of supply and demand matters a lot. A coin that millions of people own is usually not worth a fortune unless something unusual about that individual coin makes it stand out. The baseline market value for the 1,984 D penny is modest because nearly every collector can easily find one in their preferred grade. Section 4 Rare Varieties and Error Coins. Now let's talk about the special cases that can really attract collector interest. There are rare varieties and error coins that come from mistakes or unusual production situations. In the world of Lincoln pennies, collectors look for things like double die errors, off-center strikes, die cracks, mismatched plan case, and other anomalies that don't appear on ordinary coins. For example, a double die error where letters or design elements appear doubled can make a coin much more desirable if the doubling is dramatic and the coin is in excellent condition. These error varieties can sometimes sell for hundreds to a few $1,000s depending on how rare the error is and how desirable it is to collectors. Exceptional uncirculated coins with full original red surfaces and strong strike detail can bring higher prices than typical circulated examples. There are also occasional coins struck on the wrong metal plankette or with unusual defects that can be worth significantly more than face value. These error coins are exceptions and not the rule. They are interesting because they show how the minting process can sometimes go off track and create something unique, but it's important to remember that even many error coins do not automatically sell for extremely high prices unless the error is dramatic and the coin is in excellent condition. Section 5 About the $1 million claims. Now let's address the big question: could a 1,984 D Lincoln penny really be worth $1.5 million? While dramatic headlines and video titles might get your attention, the reality is that there is no widely accepted documented record of a 1,984 D Lincoln penny selling for that kind of amount in the mainstream coin market. Real coin values come from verified sales at reputable auctions or dealer transactions and not from speculation or clickbait. Coins that do sell for very high prices tend to be extremely old, very rare, or tied to historical events or mistakes that only happened in very small numbers. Realistically, even the most valuable error examples or highest graded uncirculated 1,984 D pennies have brought strong but not seven-figure prices in documented auctions over the years. If you see claims on social media that a penny from the state is worth millions, you should approach those claims with skepticism and look for support from actual auction results or recognized numismatic authorities. Section 6 How to evaluate your OWN coin. So what do you do if you think you might have a valuable 1,984 D penny? First, examine the coin carefully with good lighting and a magnifying glass. Look for original red color on uncirculated coins and strong details around Lincoln's face and the word Liberty. High quality color and strike often bring higher collector interest. Next, look for anything unusual such as doubling off-center strikes or odd plankett shapes. These features are what turn ordinary coins into potential error coins, which can be collectible. If you find something unusual, consider consulting a reputable coin dealer or sending your coin to a professional grading service. They can authenticate your coin, determine if it is an error, and assign a grade which helps establish real market value. Never clean your coin, because cleaning can remove original surface layers and reduce value significantly. Original untouched surfaces are always more desirable to serious collectors. Conclusion. In summary, the 1984 Lincoln penny is a very common coin with baseline value close to its face value. In most cases, uncirculated examples with strong color can be worth more, and rare error coins can attract collector interest and higher prices, but there is no verified evidence that the standard 1984 penny is worth $1.5 million in the numismatic marketplace. Sensational online claims are usually just that, sensational, and not supported by documented sales. Collecting coins is exciting and educational, and every coin tells part of the story of our history. Whether you find an error penny or a perfect uncirculated example, the joy is in exploration and learning about what you hold. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Lincoln pennies, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more fascinating stories about coins and hidden treasures in everyday change. If you want visual cue suggestions or B-roll ideas that match the script for your editing timeline, just let me know. Welcome back, coin collectors, treasure hunters, and history lovers. Today we are exploring one of the most familiar coins ever made, the 1992 Lincoln penny. You might have seen videos or posts claiming that this coin is worth unbelievable amounts of money, like $1.4 million. But what is the truth behind those claims? How much is this penny actually worth? What makes certain coins rare and collectible, and how can you tell if yours is special? We are going to answer all those questions and more, so let's dive right in. Section 1. History of the Lincoln penny. The Lincoln penny has a long, fascinating history that stretches back more than a century. Originally issued in 1909 to honor President Abraham Lincoln on the 100th anniversary of his birth, this coin was the first United States circulation coin to feature a real person. The design was created by Victor David Brenner and quickly became one of the most beloved and recognizable coins in the world. For most of its life, the penny carried Lincoln's portrait on the obverse and a variety of designs on the reverse. From 1959 through 2008, the reverse featured the Lincoln Memorial, which is the design you find on the 1992 penny. Because Lincoln pennies have been produced for such a long time, they are collected around the globe, and generations of Americans have carried them in their pockets. That long history and the many design changes over the years make Lincoln pennies an exciting series for both new and experienced collectors. Section 2. What the 1992 penny is. The D on a 1992 penny tells you it was struck at the Denver Mint. The United States Mint uses small mint marks to show where coins were made, and Denver has been one of the most important facilities for producing everyday coins. In 1992, the Denver Mint produced billions of Lincoln pennies for circulation. That huge production means that the 1992 penny is very common and easy to find in pocket change rolls and collections across the country. Most 1992 pennies are made of a zinc core with the thin copper plating, a change from earlier years when pennies were mostly copper. This difference in metal composition is important for collectors because older copper pennies often have a different market value than more modern zinc pennies. Section 3. Normal market value. So what is a typical 1992 Lincoln penny worth today? The honest answer is that most circulated coins are worth only a small multiple of their face value. Most 1992 pennies found in everyday change that show will sell for just a few cents or up to $1 or $2 in average collector markets. Even uncirculated examples that look crisp and shiny usually bring just a few dollars to perhaps $10 or $20, depending on how nice they look and how collectors value them. Value in coins is driven by rarity condition and demand. Because billions of 1992 pennies were made, there is no real scarcity for the date, and so typical examples do not command high prices in the marketplace. Most price guides list basic values only modestly above face value for common circulated coins and modest premiums for uncirculated pieces. Section 4: Rare varieties and error coins. Now here is where things get exciting. If a coin has something unusual about it that most coins do not have, collectors will pay extra. Rare varieties and mint errors make certain coins stand out from ordinary ones. For Lincoln pennies, these can include doubling on letters or numbers known as double-die errors, off-center strikes where parts of the design are missing, plankett errors where the metal blank was defective or struck incorrectly, and other anomalies. For example, a 1992 penny with a dramatic double die on the reverse side can attract collector interest and sell for much more than a typical penny. The value for error coins depends on how striking the error is, how obvious it looks, and how well the coin has been preserved. Some rare error pennies have sold for hundreds or even a few $1,000s at auction when collectors compete for them. High-grade uncirculated coins with exceptional original color and perfect strike also tend to be more valuable than worn circulated examples. Collectors prize deep original red color and strong detail on Lincoln's face and lettering because those features show that the coin has not been circulated or handled much since it left the mint. Section 5: About the $1.4 million claims. Now let's talk openly about the big question: could a 1992 Lincoln penny really be worth $1.4 million? While sensational claims often spread online, the reality is that there is no verified auction record showing a 1992 penny selling for a seven-figure price. In the established numismatic market, coins that have sold for high prices historically tend to be extremely rare, older dates, historically significant pieces, or dramatic error coins with very little surviving. Examples: millions of 1992 pennies were struck and remain in collections and circulation today, so ordinary examples will never reach extraordinary values simply because of how many were made. Sensational prices in videos or headlines are usually exaggerated or clickbait meant to attract views, not based on documented sales history. Even the most valuable verified 1992 pennies, such as premium error coins or top-graded uncirculated examples, have brought strong prices compared to face value, but nowhere near $1.4 million in legitimate verified auctions. Section 6: How to evaluate your OWN coin. If you think you might have a rare or valuable 1992 penny, here are steps you can take. First, never clean your coin because cleaning can damage the surface and reduce the collectible value. Original untouched surfaces are always worth more in the collector world. Use good lighting and a magnifying glass to inspect the details, looking for unusual features such as doubling off-center strikes or strange blanks. If you find what looks like an error, consider showing the coin to a reputable dealer or submitting it to a professional coin grading service. Certified graders can authenticate unusual coins, assign official grades, and help determine real market value. High-quality, original color, especially full deep red on zinc pennies and sharp strong detail around Lincoln's portrait, often attract higher collector interest than dollar-worn coins. Section 7: Conclusion. In summary, the 1992 Lincoln penny is a common modern coin that most people find worth only a small multiple of its face value. Normal circulated examples are inexpensive collector pieces, and even uncirculated coins usually sell for modest amounts. Rarer coins and exceptional graded examples can be worth significantly more, but there is no credible evidence that the standard 1992 Lincoln penny is worth $1.4 million. Real coin values are based on documented sales in reputable auctions and confirmed marketplace data, not sensational online claims. Every coin has a story, and exploring that history is part of the joy of collecting. Whether you find a rare, a beautifully preserved uncirculated piece, or just learn more about what you hold in your hand, these coins connect us to history and the everyday life of the past. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this deep dive into Lincoln pennies, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more fascinating coin history, rare finds, and hidden treasures in everyday change. If you want visual cue suggestions or B-roll ideas to go along with this script, let me know and I'll tailor that for your editing timeline. Hello coin lovers, treasure hunters and history fans. Today we're diving into the fascinating story of a coin that most people hardly think twice about when they see it and change, the 1971 Lincoln penny. Some videos and posts online have suggested that this simple cent could be worth an incredible amount of money, like $1.6 million, but is that true? What makes one coin valuable and another almost worthless? In this video we're going to explore the real history of the 1971 Lincoln penny, what its typical value is, how rare our coins work, and why most claims about million-dollar prices are exaggerated or misleading. Let's get started. Section 1: History of the Lincoln penny. The Lincoln penny has been one of the most enduring coins in United States history. First introduced in 1909 to honor President Abraham Lincoln on the 100th anniversary of his birth, the penny was the first regular circulation coin in the United States to feature a real person. Its designer Victor David Brenner created a portrait of Lincoln that has become iconic and instantly recognizable around the world. Over the years the design has changed slightly, but the essence remained the same. From 1959 through 2008, the reverse of the Lincoln penny featured the Lincoln Memorial, a design many of us grew up seeing in our everyday change. The 1971 Lincoln penny comes from this era, with Lincoln on the front and the memorial on the back, connecting a modern era of coinage with a long tradition of American symbolism. Section 2: What the 1971 penny is. The 1971 Lincoln penny was struck in huge numbers at multiple mints including Philadelphia and Denver. In circulation that year a massive amount of pennies was made to meet the ongoing needs of the economy. Because so many 1971 pennies were struck, most of them are extremely common today. You can find them in jars, in coin rolls, and in pocket change all across the country. The coin is made of a copper composition typical of pennies from that era and includes details like Lincoln's profile, the word liberty, the date, and on the reverse the Lincoln Memorial. To most people it looks like any other penny, and at first glance it might not seem like something special. Section 3: Normal market value. So what is a standard 1971 Lincoln penny worth today? The honest answer is that most of these coins are only worth a little more than their face value. Circulated coins that have scratches, wear, and dull surfaces are typically worth just a few cents at most. Because the mintage was so high and so many have survived, they are not rare from a collecting perspective. Even uncirculated coins that show crisp details and nice original color rarely bring massive prices. Most uncirculated examples might sell for a few dollars to perhaps $10 or $20 depending on condition. Condition matters a lot in numismatics, and coins that show full original red color and sharp details are more desirable than worn or faded coins. But even these more attractive examples usually do not demand very high prices among collectors. Section 4: Rare varieties and error coins. Now here's where things get interesting. Rare varieties and error coins are what can push the value of a coin well above normal levels and sometimes into serious money territory. In the world of Lincoln pennies, a few specific kinds of errors and unusual varieties have drawn collector interest. One category is double die errors, where certain features on the coin appear doubled because of a mistake in the die preparation process. These can be very collectible if the doubling is dramatic and the coin is in good condition. Another category includes off-center strikes, where the coin was not properly centered during striking, causing part of the design to be missing, or shifted plankett errors, where the coin blank was defective or made of the wrong metal composition, can also be collectible and bring a premium in the marketplace. Some error coins, especially unusual ones, have sold for hundreds or even several $1,000s at auction and among dedicated collectors. High-grade uncirculated coins with strong original color and dramatic error characteristics tend to bring the most interest when they appear at auction or in collector shows. Section 5: About the $1.6 million claims. Now let's address the big question: could a 1971 Lincoln penny really be worth $1.6 million? You may have seen videos or articles making big claims about that figure, but here's the truth. There is no widely accepted verified auction record of a 1971 Lincoln penny selling for a seven-figure amount in the established coin market. Coins that sell for extremely high prices tend to be very rare issues, incredibly old, or tied to documented minting mistakes that occurred in tiny numbers. The 1971 Lincoln penny was produced in vast quantities and most survive today. That means ordinary examples, even uncirculated ones, do not have the rarity needed to command huge prices like $1.6 million. Sensational headlines are often clickbait designed to get attention, not reflections of documented sales history. Even the rarest rare examples from 1971, while collectible and interesting, have historically sold for strong but modest amounts compared to seven-figure claims. Collectors and dealers base real value on documented auction results and consensus price guides, not internet speculation. Section 6: How to evaluate your OWN coin. If you think you might have something special, here's what you can do first. Avoid cleaning your coin. Cleaning can damage the surface and drastically reduce collectible value. Original untouched surfaces are critical to collectors. Next, examine your coin under good lighting and with a magnifying glass. Look for signs of unusual features such as doubling off-center strikes, odd shapes, or other anomalies that don't line up with normal examples. If you find something unusual, consider consulting a reputable coin dealer or submitting your coin to a professional grading service. Certified grading companies can authenticate your coin, assign an official grade, and help determine whether it's an error, a rare variety, or simply a well-preserved normal example. High-grade uncirculated coins with strong original color and sharp details tend to be more desirable to collectors than worn coins, but remember, rarity and documented market demand are what make coins truly valuable. Conclusion. In summary, the 1971 Lincoln penny is a common coin with a fascinating history, but most examples are only worth a little more than face value even in uncirculated condition. Rarer coins and unusual varieties can be collectible and bring higher prices at auction, but there is no credible evidence that a typical 1971 Lincoln penny is worth $1.6 million. Real coin value comes from documented sales at reputable auctions and collector markets, not sensational online claims. Thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed this deep dive into the history and value of Lincoln pennies, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more fascinating coin stories, incredible finds, and hidden treasures in everyday change. If you'd like suggested visual cues or B-roll ideas to pair with this script, just let me know.